Okay. Anybody want to come on with me and ask a question about anything health and wealth related? If you do, just put a chat that you want to come on and I'll make you a panelist, and then we can have a conversation. So any live coaching, we will do live on air coaching. And again, health and wealth. Please go to Health and Wealth. It is a free podcast. You can download the 20 episodes that are there. 85% of them are brand new content, never been aired before. A couple of them are repeated because, again, I felt that they were appropriate to the brand of Health and Wealth. Nobody wants to come on. I can keep talking, don't you worry. But I'd love to answer any questions that you have, since I do have some of you live. And until then, I will just keep talking. So for those of you that are not listeners to my show, I did start out with the Fit to Love podcast show. It was a 6-day-a-week show. It was video and audio, and we covered everything from smart exercise, which are videos, which now also live on YouTube. And my YouTube is jjflazanes.com. I'm sorry, jjflazanes.tv. Although you can go to jjflazanes.com as well, and you'll get redirected. And then the next show, which was video, was a 2-camera HD shoot of easy paleo, gluten, and dairy-free cooking. So I've got a ton of resources. Can I speak about Imago for relationship? I can. Excellent. Thanks, Michelle. Just give me one more. I'll just finish one more show on Fit to Love, and then I'll come back to it. So first thing was smart exercise about biomechanics, because I have to tell you guys, not everybody, there's a lot of science to movement in your joints in your body. So I just want to make sure people don't hurt their joints while they're trying to build muscle and get success. And too often I see really, really, really bad exercises all of the time. And you think, oh, they're hard and they hurt me. Yeah, they do, but they also hurt your joints, and they don't have to. It's like the biomechanics of the body and the physics of exercise is very in depth, and most people don't know it. So then the next show was easy paleo, gluten, and dairy-free cooking. Again, video show. And I had 3 different, actually. Layla Ali was my last guest on that show. And you can find those videos at jjflazanes.tv. One more before I take a pause on the Fit to Love. Wellness Wednesdays became nutrition and alternative medicine. But if you don't know my shows, that Wellness Wednesday turned nutrition alternative medicine is literally on alternative medicine, everything from Chinese medicine and acupuncture to the emotional side to hormones and hormone replacement therapy, and how do you get your hormones up without that, what you can do lifestyle wise. We just did fasting mimicking diet. We talk about intermittent fasting. We talk about probiotics and weight loss. So many different amazing shows on nutrition and alternative medicine, which was Wellness Wednesday on this show. All right. So for those of you that don't know about Imago therapy, again, Harville Hendrix 30 plus years ago created a therapy called Imago. Imago means like image, in the image. And what the basis of Imago is you choose your partners to heal the wounds of your past. End of story. All right. Let's make sense of love. Our subconscious sees in someone else traits of our caregivers and tells our brain, oh, that person can give me what I didn't get from my parents. And it's a very effective therapy in understanding the mechanics of relationships. See, too many times people think, well, I just made a wrong choice. No, you didn't make a wrong choice. You chose, your subconscious chose the person you're in love with. It sees it as a way to become whole, as a way to address something that you didn't get in childhood. And one of the things I love about Imago therapy, when I did it the first time with my ex-husband, I regret waiting to do it. I always thought, well, I'll do it when I have a partner, or I'll do it when I get married, because I wanted to do it before I got married. But I thought, oh, it's a couples thing. So I'm going to wait till I'm in a couple. I'm going to wait till there's a problem. Although I did ask a couple times if we could do it throughout the years. And when we finally did make it there, there's an exercise called creating your Imago. And creating your Imago is literally kind of looking back at the positive and negative traits of your caregivers, what you didn't, what you got, or how you reacted when you didn't get what you wanted, sort of the dynamics between each caregiver, which didn't have to be a parent. It could have been a grandparent. And then also, just everybody who raised you and any of the dynamics there. And there are a couple pages, like one is your deepest childhood, I think frustrations, and then things that you didn't get. So when I did this Imago, creating your Imago exercise, I literally had such a profound aha moment, just me, and with my own like realization of a habit and pattern and a wound that I have that had been driving all of my behavior, definitely towards my ex, but also to other people too. I mean, it's so much so that my awareness, like when I saw the pattern, like when this happened and I didn't get this is how I responded. And then literally I was writing it 3 times and I went, oh my God, that's what I do every single time. And it was amazing because instantaneously when I saw that, I stopped. I'm like, oh, I get it now. I mean, you could have told me that what I was doing didn't work. I knew it wasn't working. But to understand that this is what I've always done with everyone. I mean, I'm talking friends, I'm talking, colleagues, I'm talking clients, like everybody. The only difference is clients actually expect it from me. They want it from me. They're paying me for it. But when I was taking this behavior into all of my relationships from back in time, so far back, I realized how powerful Imago therapy was for the individual. I thought, why isn't everyone doing this in therapy, period? Eventually I'm going to record a show called The Roadmap to Healing. And the reason why I want to record The Roadmap to Healing is because most people go into therapy. And for those of you that listen to my show, you know that I'm not a huge fan of traditional therapy, just like across the board. I think there are great therapists out there. I've had some. But I also think that therapy in general sometimes doesn't move the needle for people. It's just a way for you to feel validation that keeps you where you are. It actually never gets to the place where you actually make a change. Because to me, true healing is about being different in the same situation, not avoiding, not having tactics or tools to manage, but to truly deeply heal those wounds. Well, in order to deeply heal those wounds, we need to know what they are. And Imago therapy does it so quickly. Literally this exercise. If you just did the Imago exercise, creating your Imago exercise, which by the way, you can get the workbook. It's the Getting the Love You Want workbook. And I believe it's like the second or third exercise. It's probably 7 pages. It'll take you about 30 minutes or more, or maybe or more, but not too much more. And if you actually just do this, you will literally have the map of every relationship gone wrong, of every habit and pattern that doesn't serve you, and the wounds that you have been trying to compensate for your entire life. I think it was the most profound aha moment I had had in years about therapy, and thought, I think individuals should be doing this. I think everyone should be doing this. So in my coaching with people, everyone does it when we're looking at healing. Now, because again, it's why do you emotionally eat? Why did you use a substance? Why are you having this relationship issue with a friend or a parent? What is this deep wound that you keep trying to heal by repeating the pattern in different areas? So that is the basis of Imago, because it makes your relationship not random. It makes it that you chose a person specifically because, again, your subconscious said, oh, this person is like my caregivers, and they're going to help me get that need met. The problem is everybody you're choosing, and this isn't like a single person, this is literally everybody, they are unable to do that for you. And so Imago therapy creates this dialogue between couples that can help each other, because the subconscious says, oh, this is the right person. This person is like my caregiver. At the same time, your greatest need is their greatest deficit. So through Imago therapy, through dealing with the couple, what ends up happening is that you actually can heal each other when you use the tools, when you recognize. So let's say, one of the complaints about certain behaviors in Imago therapy, let's take, for instance, love languages. And Imago doesn't use love languages. What my specialty is, is having this curiosity for knowledge and having more tools than I know too many people have. Like I literally have so many tools, and I'll cherry pick like how they work together for a person, and why this information is important for understanding communication. So love languages, Dr. Gary Chapman, very valuable tool to understand how you give and receive love. So if you're in a couple and your love language is touch and the other person's love language isn't, and you're looking for, and you're kind of doing the Imago and you're asking for change, or you're asking for, I'm going to do yours, I'm going to try harder for you and you're going to try harder for me. And I don't mean it like that because that sounds very victim-y, but let's say you've made an agreement, but the complaint is, well, I don't feel it. Okay. I don't feel like doing that thing for you, whatever that is. What's awesome about Imago is that Harville also talks about, and so does Dawson Church in Mind to Matter, although this would be using EFT. But what Harville talks about in Imago therapy, episode 91, Your Relationship Explained on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, is that we actually have to force ourselves to do something against what we're afraid of. It's like if you hate going to the gym and you just think one day you're going to wake up and you're going to feel inspired and you're going to want to do it, not going to happen. But if you force yourself to do it against your fight or flight response, you start to create new neural pathways. A neural pathway is basically like the link from your brain to your body and to your nervous system. So when we come against something I don't feel, or we have resistance, it's because we have some fear about it. We have something either subconscious, or we're in our primal brain where we're trying to protect ourselves, some kind of survival. We're like really flared up in that part of the brain, which isn't our conscious brain. What happens is we don't do it because we feel that fear and that resistance. What Harville talks about in episode 91 on Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, Your Relationship Explained, is that when you force yourself, you do it even if you don't feel it, because what happens is it will rewire your brain, to recognize it isn't scary. And then by the end of the 30 days, it might be a random time, the 30 days is that you actually like it and enjoy it. So each partner in Imago therapy serves the other to help the other get their deepest wound healed and their and like the thing that they're not good at to get better at. So if that makes sense. And part of, and again, this has been a work in progress. The first time Getting the Love You Want came out was 30 years ago. And they just released last January, the newest version, because Doug and I went to Esalen to do the training with Harville and Helen. And then they're coming out with another book, I think this year. But since then, I've interviewed them 2 more times. And one of them is called Dethroning the Therapist. So that is another, I don't know what number it is, but the episode is called Dethroning the Therapist. And they're talking about this couple's dialogue and how they're taking the therapist out of the situation, that they're giving the power to the couple, that the kind of tools and work that Imago does is literally about leaning on your partner, about mirroring each other and figuring out and using the couple's dialogue and creating a safe space and really creating more of a connection with a couple. And again, I agree with 99% of everything that goes on with Imago therapy. But I would, me and my version adds a couple other tools like nonviolent communication, like love languages, like astrology, right? To understand how your partner thinks and feels differently from you. That you're not to assume that your partner is you, and that just because you reacted to something that way means that they somehow should know that. There's a lot of guessing that goes on in relationships all over the place from, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be work related. It could be between, friends. But a lot of us all you can ever do if you don't practice is come from an I place and from your own point of view. And until you start to learn why and how others have a completely different way of looking at the world. I've said this on a couple shows recently that now my acting background really plays a great role in what I'm doing in coaching and in training, because I think most people should go through an acting class, because most people don't ever put on another pair of glasses. Where are my blue blockers? When I eventually do my TED Talk this year, fingers crossed, I'm probably gonna have some glasses, right? So let's say I'm looking at the world and the world looks the way it looks. And all of a sudden, and here's my story, my background. And then there's someone else. Now there's a different environment. I now change my circumstances. And now I'm looking through the world with a different colored glasses, which makes the world look much different. But there's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong. They're just different. And the reason why they're different is because, for many reasons: frequency, environment, again, love language, wounds, traumas. But most people just assume that if I feel this way about something, everybody else should too. And I can't believe you're not reacting the same way I am. I can't believe you're not angry about this thing that I'm angry about. Well, it's because they don't see the world the same way you do. They don't value the same things. They don't want the same things. So, so Dethroning the Therapist was the next conversation with Harville and Helen. And there's a video version of both of those, Your Relationship Explained and Dethroning the Therapist, on jjflazanes.tv. Doug and I did it together, Dethroning the Therapist, and it's also on the podcasts. The third conversation hasn't been published yet. Fingers crossed it's next week. I'm just waiting, and it's going to be called Safe Conversations. And again, it's taking the couples dialogue out of Imago therapy and doing it with anyone. And, for some people, they think, oh, it's a script and it feels very safe is what it feels when you actually do it, because you don't have to worry about responding. Your one job is to mirror and reflect back and to empathize. That's it. And each person gets to do it. Each person feels seen and heard. There's some emotion expressed. And again, you're creating a place where you feel safe. And then the safety allows you to feel seen and heard and possibly create a better connection. I would say that the majority of people who have issues in relationship, myself included, is when you don't feel safe. When you feel, even yesterday when Doug and I did it, I'm not going to say I felt unsafe. I felt unsupported. I felt I felt like my safety was threatened. I felt like my ability to be me was being threatened. And that wasn't the case. But until you uncover that through something like a couples dialogue, then you walk around with this assumption and with this resentment and with this pain. And I didn't want to do that. And so I said, can we take this situation and do the couples dialogue? Now, we could have ignored it, but I wouldn't have slept, and I would have, and the bubble of emotion would have only gotten bigger. And he wouldn't have ever been clear about why I reacted the way I did about something. And so now there's clarity and we've moved on. And I think that contrast in law of attraction promotes growth, right? So if you're having an issue, this is a time to sort of dig into it. But for most people, it's a very scary thing to think about because you don't have the tools. You feel unsafe. You are afraid, somebody will bark back at you and be triggered by what you have to say. And that is where the couples dialogue, Safe Conversations, provides a structure and a safety where you can say that, if someone else is doing it with you, they can't. They're not going to interrupt you. They shouldn't interrupt you. That would disrupt the whole process, right? That they're not going to interrupt you. And part of the process is linking it to something in your childhood. That's another thing I love about it, because it's not just about, it's again, connecting all those wounds. It's connecting, one of the things, again, I don't really love about whether it be coaching or talk therapy is a lot of times people walk in and they talk about what's real for you right now. All right, well, you could come in every day of the week and have a complaint about what's real for you right now, but it is deeply connected to one of, 2 to 3 core wounds. So why are we going to spend time in the surface area when we can just go to where is this from? And within the couples dialogue, although I don't have a script for Safe Conversations yet, I'm assuming it's the same, but maybe it's not. In the script for Safe Conversations or for couples dialogue, it says, when I feel this way, it reminds me of when I was little, and then you fill in the blank. So you start to connect that your trigger wasn't really about the now. Your trigger was about a belief and an event that happened to you. Again, one of these major core wounds, which aren't hard to find. I know people that go through 7 years of therapy and are the same on the other side of it. They do not change at all. And for me, that's very frustrating because it gives therapy and the idea of therapy or coaching a bad name. Not everybody's doing it, but I think if you want real change, so this whole roadmap to healing for me, and I'm going to do it for a lot of men too, because I know men resist therapy because they think it's an open-ended, never-ending, I'm just supposed to talk about my feelings. Yes and no, right? But if there's a structure, if it's like, I'm going to go build a building and here are the plans, A, B, C, D, E, it's going to take this much time. These are the steps I'm going to take. I wonder if many people, men especially, might be more willing to go to therapy or do coaching if I could lay out for you, here's the roadmap, here's the points we're going to cover, how long it takes depends on you, but here's the end goal. And there is an end goal. I don't think anyone needs to be staying in therapy forever. And if you are, you're not being effective with what you're doing, in my opinion. I think that's maddening. The whole point is to give you tools to deal with your life, knowing how to process your feelings, knowing how to be conscious of your needs and to discern when you have a need versus, and to not blame, to know when you're in victim mode, to know that you can get all your needs met, and to empower yourself to learn and grow and be different. And again, heal those wounds so that you don't have to control circumstances all the time. You don't have to worry who's going to be where or what's going to be there. And and live in this constant state of control, because control is another addiction. You can't control anyone. You can't control anything about anyone, even when you try, when you use emotional manipulation, when you punish people, use power struggle. Yeah, good luck with that. It's only going to make you miserable. You can't control anyone. The only person you can control, you can influence people, but the only reason you can control is you. Your thoughts, your actions, your beliefs, the story you're telling yourself, That's it. Everybody else, you can't do anything about them. So I'm always a fan of go inward and deal with you, heal your wounds, because life is so much easier when you do all of it. It feels better. Communication's easier. Attracting better things is easier. So that was a really long-winded answer to Imago stuff that included other things. All right. Anyone else want to come on or have another question? My next guest is coming on at 9:30, Deanna, unless she's early and then I can let her in early. But I'm happy to bring somebody else on who wants to ask a question or give me another topic. Health and wealth. Again, for those of you joining me live, new health and wealth is up. Please go and subscribe, rate, and review. And if you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. But please, please, please rate and review it. And then go claim your gifts at healthandwealthgifts.com. Healthandwealthgifts.com. Get you over $2,000 worth of health and wealth swag bag stuff that my guests do not offer for free. But I asked them to give me something that they could help celebrate the launch of health and wealth. So, okay.